Kia ora whānau, happy new moon. Hope you're all doing well. Flowing through this eclipse energy gently. I think I'm going to quickly pull 1 or 2 cards on the new moon just for us to have some guidance. But I really felt like Source wanted me to talk a little bit about past life connections. So there are like some notes that I've written down that I'm gonna like get into after I pull some tarot for us. But yeah, let's see what the new moon messages are for us first, and then I'll get into the second part of this video. Information to have for us, the collective and the light and shadow of this new moon. 3 of Swords, guidance, information, the 6 of Cups at the base of the deck. We have for us the collective, Knave of Chalices, 10 of Pentacles. And we'll pull one more. What guidance to have for us the collective at this time under this new moon. The Wheel of Fortune with the Hierophant. Okay. So this is like, I will say that this is already linked to connections. So I thought that Source would probably link the topic that we're going to get into to the tarot. I guess in this new moon is calling us to reflect on any past hurt or wounds. This is really directed or in alignment with our inner child or our child self. So this could be wounds that we've gone through when we were younger, so trauma, that kind of thing. This could even be like things we've seen in our childhood that have really caused us a lot of pain. The other thing that this could be is also relationship. So any relationship where our emotions have been invested, we may be reflecting on anything that's caused us pain in the past, particularly as we're going into this like new season, or we've entered into this new season. There's an opportunity for us to enter into fresh waters and our connections. We may be entering into, when I say fresh waters, like entering into fresh experiences, even in old connections, because we had 6 of Cups at the base of the deck. So some of these past hurts that we might be reflecting on could be to do with a current relationship that we're in, that we have, where we have history with that person, or it could be, again, childhood stuff. So Source is calling us to reflect on these wounds, any hurt that might be coming up at this time, or even I'm hearing flashbacks, and when I think I said the word recall instead of call. So we personally might be, I want to say like inspired to recall. So something might be triggering us, essentially. So there could also be certain triggers that are uncomfortable that are coming up for us, that are bringing up memories. But with the Wheel of Fortune at the end here, this is like, we have this opportunity to go in whichever direction we want. And for me, this is, I'm seeing this particularly as past, present, future. So we're looking at the past, looking at our past hurts, anything that's caused us whatever grief or wounding, and we're looking at how we can, of course, like heal this and release this and enter into this Wheel of Fortune. So there's an opportunity for us to pretty much let go of that. And I'm seeing like change our perspective so that it'll be like this. So we'll be in these fresh waters in our love life, in our platonic relationships, friendships, anything where we have emotional connection to and with. and entering more into this, I honestly want to say like anything is possible. So there, I also heard the word doubts. So the past might be causing some doubts for some of us, but it's important for us to evaluate or look at these things, and look at it from the eyes of our inner child, our child self, or just from that pure place within ourselves. So it may require us to get a little bit out of our ego, and be a little bit vulnerable with ourselves. We might be required to be a little bit more vulnerable with others as well. But yeah, I guess that this vulnerability and this healing and this refreshing of our emotional body and our connections and friendships and whatever it may be, yeah, is leading us down, or we have this opportunity to enter into like a new narrative, a new story, a new path. Even with the Hierophant at the base of the deck, this is talking about like we have this opportunity to step into new routines and contracts, structures as well. I'm also hearing that we might be doing things a little bit more traditionally, whatever that means to you. Yeah, but there might be like, within this, I want to say mamai or pain or wounds from the past, this energy might put us in two minds sometimes, but it's important for us to not be discouraged by that, and not to be discouraged by the reflection, not be discouraged by kind of having to go back in time a little bit, because I feel like Source is calling us to do that for a reason. So we can essentially just chuck that away and have this Wheel of Fortune new experience. And I'm hearing that when the Wheel of Fortune is upright, then the fortune is in our favor. So Source is reminding us that, again, no matter what we've been through in the past, this came up in the last reading, no matter what we've been through in the past, no matter what hurt we have gone through, at whatever time in our lives when it comes to our heart or our emotions, yeah, our fortune is changing. And I'm also hearing these things are not going to repeat themselves if we take the time to be vulnerable with self and actually reflect. So yeah, I'm actually going to leave that there for now, and just get into the rest of what I felt like Source was calling us to take a look at, and something that's been coming up, not just for me personally, but like in the collective energy. So for me, I will get like what I call downloads. So I will get like a bunch of information like come down into my spirit or come into my mind. And because of my relationship with Source or my ancestors, I know their voice, so I know what's what. And so from that, Source had been talking to me a lot about past life connections and wanting me to explain some things and share my own experience or knowledge that I have acquired, because I feel like it can be really confusing dealing with relationships, and the different kinds of relationships that we can encounter, whether it's romantic, whether it's not, it doesn't matter, you know. So yeah, I'm just gonna pull up my notes so I don't like forget anything or go off track. So yeah, past life connections. I know not everyone believes in past lives. So if you don't, then I don't know what to tell you. But I do, and for those that do or are interested in it, I hope that this aids you and gives a little bit of information, even if you're just curious. So past lives in general. Past lives. For me, I believe that we incarnate into this life and we reincarnate into this life. For me, I believe that this is not the only place that we can have our incarnation or be born into, but technically your past life is a life that you have had before this, or the lives that you have had before this, incarnated on Earth specifically. Let's talk about that. In these past lives, obviously we are connecting with other people, and we also have certain contracts with other people. So for example, in a past life, if you were connected to a friend, or it could even be your mom or your dad or your uncle or your auntie or your cousin, whoever it may be, they don't even need to be related to you. So we could come back into this life and reconnect with this person, but they may not show up as what they were before. And we may not show up as what we were before. So for example, if someone was your sister in a past life, they may not be your sister in this life. They could be your husband or your wife or your friend. Like, the possibilities are endless. But a past life connection is a contract. So it's something that we have agreed to experience. And some of these contracts stay in one life, and some of these contracts expand to many lives or multiple lives. So when we're coming into the life that we're in, there essentially is an unfinished contract. And that's what we call a past life connection. A connection or a contract that is still needing to continue, or we have agreed to continue this connection, essentially. And there may be various reasons as to why we've decided to still be connecting with this person in the life that we're in. That comes with our own journey, our own destiny, our own path, our own karma as well. And I want to say, use the term karma loosely. Karma is not a negative thing. Karma just means the past contracts that you have, that maybe you are still tied to, that you have agreed to, that you maybe are still transmuting or still changing in order to align with your destiny. But again, karma is not a negative thing, so I don't want to get too into that, but yeah. This can be also why when we meet someone in this life and the energy seems so familiar to us, this is a common explanation or way to figure out that this connection is a past life connection. I mean, I wouldn't just go off that, but you can feel like a soul familiarity with someone. So where your soul already feels connected to them very strongly. This can be why people sometimes connect or meet each other and connect in a very close from the get-go, because you've known each other before, which is a beautiful thing. Yeah, so past life connection does not mean that it's negative or a bad thing. It just means that you still have things to work through, or you still have an agreement with this soul or this person. I do want to say, in all our relationships that we are in, we are creating some sort of karma, because karma is the past. And if you've heard of the word dharma, then that's the future, but that can just be perceived as destiny. Or if you're familiar with astrology, you could look at it as South Node, North Node. So in all our relationships that we are in, we are creating some sort of karma, whether it's positive or negative. And it's up to us, and it's also in our power and our free will to decide what moves we make in this connection. I have my free, so for example, we're in a connection and we've known each other in a past life. I have my own free will to decide whether I want to continue the contract, and so do you. Even if it's in our destiny to continue the contract, or it's what our ancestors want, we can still decide that we don't want to, because everyone has free will. Yeah. So you are never stuck with someone because of a past life connection. And to think that you have this bond with someone that you can't break is not true. To think that you have this bond with someone also where you or someone else is using this in a manipulative way. For example, saying, like, making someone feel, is indebted the right word? I'm going to look it up. You know, like making someone feel like they owe you because you have a contract with them or the strong connection to them is not wise. It's actually very manipulative. And I felt like Source wanted me to mention that because I feel like that's something that can be or can transpire within the spiritual community. We always have a choice in our connections. And I think that Source, I feel like at this time, is wanting us to take responsibility for the choices that we make in connection and to view our connections in this way. Obviously, not all connections are a past life connection. You can meet someone in this life and it can be completely new and fresh. But I think that if this resonates with you, or we all have different past life connections. I don't think there's anyone that doesn't. So recognizing your past life connections is important, because that means that you know what lessons you are learning in relationship in this lifetime. In each life that we have, we're learning different lessons. We could be learning these lessons on behalf of our ancestral line, so our literal DNA. Or we could be learning these lessons just based on our own soul's journey. So yeah, the importance of knowing our past is to connect to our present and future pathways. This brings me back to Sankofa, the Adinkra symbol, return and get it. The bird that has the egg in its mouth, walking forward, but its head is facing backward. You know, if we know our past, we know where we've come from, we won't repeat the same mistakes, hopefully. And if we do, we learn from them. And I think that this is what Source is really encouraging, not to look at our relationships, I want to say, so lightly or shallowly, you know, as much as connecting with people is what we're here for, and it is such a beautiful experience and a part of humanity to connect with others and deepen our connections and meet people and open ourselves up. There's an importance in also identifying what connection this is. What is this connection doing for me? Especially if you feel like you are moving through heavy karma with the person, or heavy lessons, heavy challenges, that you feel spiritually, emotionally, mentally tied to. And it's not every friendship or connection or lover that we feel that with. You will need to use your own discernment to track that. But yeah, I feel like Source is wanting us to, again, going back to these tarot cards that I just pulled before, really reflect on our patterns, the past hurt that we have been through, childhood, relationships in general. We might need to journal. This might take us some time, and that's okay. But I feel like there are some patterns that some of us could potentially be missing. And again, if we know where we've come from, we know how we can move forward and also change things that we don't like. Because sometimes you have entered into a relationship, and I'm going to give this, for example, sometimes you've entered into a relationship and you don't actually know why you're together, and I'm talking about this in a romantic sense, just as an example. You might not know why you're together, or why you have such a strong pull towards someone, even when the relationship is particularly unhealthy. It's really, really important to sit and be like, what am I learning from this? Why have I been put here with this person? What things am I called to heal in relationships in my ancestral line? And this isn't easy, mahi, this isn't easy work, but it's really, really important if we want to make some change in the way that we're connecting with each other as well, to really sit down and look at generational patterns. So looking at our whānau and the relationships, it's not hard to see. Like, you can observe the relationships that are happening within your whānau, and maybe how that has affected you, especially within childhood. And take that time to really meditate on what exactly you want for yourself. And even if it's not easy, or you don't know how you're going to kind of dismantle something within your ancestral line or patterns that you've been going through in a relationship, just that acknowledgement is a really, really beautiful and powerful thing, and can be one of the first steps to healing and not creating those same past life dynamics that you're not actually trying to recreate. Yeah, so this helps us heal generationally. And it's also, I want to say, our responsibility. So yeah, I really, really feel like Source is calling out a big warning. And well, I don't know if warning's the right word, but just a big, like, alert. A big alert or an alarm for us to pay attention to our connections, to pay attention to the patterns, to pay attention to, the relationships that we tend to get into. I wonder if I can give an example of my own. I think in my life personally, I've gone through a lot of karmic relationships. So, and I'm going to talk in the romantic sense. So I would say like the last 3 to 4 relationships that I've had have been past life connections and have been karmic. So in saying that, that means that I have known these people before. There has been that sense of familiarity when I've met them. But this doesn't necessarily mean that these relationships were healthy. Sometimes when we come into this life, we've agreed to clear that past, to heal it, and we have to go through a lesson that we did not complete in the past life just to clear it so we can keep moving forward. So I want to say, just because you know that you have met this person before in a past life does not mean you're meant to stay with them. Let's get that straight, and let me say this one more time. Just because you've known someone in a past life does not mean that you're meant to stay with them. It could mean that you're meant to heal something that you weren't able to heal before, and learn a lesson that you weren't able to learn, and then the connection's done. You know, I think that people get quite caught up in the past life connection buzz and start kind of being like, oh, this is a past life connection, so let me try and hold on to it, or I feel this strong bond with this person that's unexplainable. That doesn't necessarily mean that it's a meant to be thing for eternity. It could just be for that time. You know, we've come here to experience so many different things, and it's always important for us to hold on to things loosely. And if we know our patterns, we know why we're connecting with this person, it can really, really help us figure out our own flaws, I want to say, our own strengths in relationships, and quickly let go of past karma, past contracts, things that we no longer need, that our ancestors are trying to get us to heal. Because if we're not paying attention to the patterns and we're kind of ignoring, which I feel like Source is saying that some of us are ignoring the wounds from our past, the patterns and stuff like that. We'll just keep cycling through them, and we'll come back into the next life and keep cycling through them, because that's how reincarnation works. If you don't learn your lessons now, it's not even how reincarnation works, it's how life works in general. If we don't learn the lessons that we're meant to learn at this current point in time, and we push them away, they won't force us, but they will come back. You know, there's only so long that you can do that for. So this is for people, especially when it comes to connections where you're experiencing the same shit, and you're tired of it, and maybe you haven't spent enough time sitting with yourself. And when I say enough time, this time can be years. You know, it doesn't mean that you can't connect with anyone in the meantime, but just having that consciousness and that, that conscious awareness and acknowledgement, like bringing that information into your frontal lobes, you know, and not continuously pushing things back into your subconscious. For example, we dream things in the nighttime when we're asleep, because they're in our subconscious mind, and our subconscious mind is trying to relay messages to our conscious mind and push those things to the front. So for example, if you're having a repetitive dream, or even like I'd say a repetitive vision or repetitive thought in general, this is spirit trying to get us to pay attention and wake up a little bit, fam. You know, I feel like Source is calling us to kind of, I don't like saying level up, but I want to say level up, you know. Source is wanting us to level up a little bit in our spirituality, in our connection to Source, in our connections with each other. But that's not going to happen if we don't do the work that we're actually meant to do. And it's not easy. Something I also want to say is that past life connections, again, are not inherently negative. So just as I've explained, you know, you might be connecting with someone in this life and it might not be healthy, but you feel that strong connection to them that is unexplainable. You can have a past life connection with someone in this life that is beautiful. And you may have had your karma. For example, you could be with someone where you're working through some things together. This can be in friendship, family, whatever it may be. You could be working through some things together that might be quite difficult and heavy. And this doesn't also necessarily mean that you can't get through these things. You know, sometimes we are called to someone that we have a past life connection with to heal it and then sustain it as well. So not every past life connection is the same. And I think that that's why it's really important to know self, know your own journey, where you've come from, so you can move forward. And it's up to us personally to take responsibility for our past. And I keep hearing Source talk about spiritual hygiene lately. So, you know, again, we clean our space, we clean our bodies, we might even refresh our emotions, but spiritually, we also need to clean up. And we also have help in doing that. If you would like a past life reading to help look at some of your patterns within yourself or within relationship, I offer Tarot Divination for that as well. You can just hit me up, email me, whatever it is. And I know that there are so many other avenues like past life regression, readings, or going into Akashic records, ancient Egyptian Kemetic side of things as well. So if you're needing any support or help in that and you're needing some clarity, I'm definitely someone that can help out with that. But I know that there are other things as well. And also asking ancestors as well to guide us as we're healing these things, I wanted to say regeneration. So sparking up new pathways for ourselves. Yeah, our ancestors want to help us out, but they can't if we continue to sit and make the same mistakes or sit and repeat the same things. And so I also want to encourage you, if you are or don't feel like, you know, I've spoken a lot about the unhealthy side of things because I felt like I should, but also within the healthier side of things, like you might be in friendships and connections or with someone or in family dynamics that are healthy. It's still important for you to know the past. You never know what's going to come up. And also, I think it's really positive to have that awareness of like why you connect with certain people too. Even knowing like what you've gone through in your past lives, and what you want to, your soul wants to experience, your spirit wants to experience in this life, because there are things that your soul yearns for. And sometimes we might be going about finding those things in the wrong way because we don't have the guidance or we can't specifically see what has happened. So I really, really encourage you all, like, especially if you've entered into a new connection, a new friendship, a new relationship, romantic or not, or re-sparking or reigniting an old connection, or trying to bring in those fresh energies into an old connection that you already have, or sustaining, or are reigniting. I really, really encourage you to just like spend some time looking at why you feel drawn to this person, what they bring out of you, what you bring out in them. I wouldn't say compare it to your past relationships, but compare it to your past relationships. Not in a toxic way, but look at like what you've been through in your relationships. Look at the similarities in the person that you're connecting with. This is just a quick tool or exercise for us to do, you know, and I think this will just bring a little bit more awareness again into our frontal lobe, into our conscious mind. Else I did want to say was that, like, if this reading, not reading, oh, well, it was a reading, but if this topic, like, or something that is brought up, that I bring up or anyone brings up, is particularly agitating you, because I feel that sometimes that the things that I speak on agitate people, and this is because it's triggering you, my love. So if you're being triggered, then there's something in there that needs to be looked at and sorted out. It's another form of ignoring the message that is coming through to you, by seeing something that you know is kind of like, I was going to say giving you a tingle, not that kind of tingle, but like a little like agitated sense within yourself. That means something is, again, triggered. And so your body and your spirit are calling you to pay attention to that thing. And I feel like that's a big theme lately, is Source calling us to pay attention and to not ignore the things that are being brought up at this time, because they're very crucial. And if we miss the lesson, we're going to have to learn it again. And I don't know if it's necessarily worth that, you know. If you've gone through something a million times, why would you want to go through it again if it's not benefiting you? So sit with that agitated feeling of something that I'm saying is triggering you, or reminding you of something. That's your key right there. Sit with that and let spirit and your ancestors do the rest. Is there anything else that I need to say, Source? Or is that enough information for now? Yeah, that's enough. So, whānau, I will leave that there. I feel like that was, it's a lot to chew on. And yeah, this is a really beautiful time in this moon to really heal and start something new. We're in the, we've just passed through the, what is it called? Astrological New Year. So many different New Years out here. But yeah, we've just passed through the astrological new year. We're in a new moon eclipse season, which is a very powerful, potent time to release, to protect ourselves as well. I have seen that it's not the greatest time to like manifest or to call in, but it's a good time for us to reflect and let go of, in preparation to call in when the energies kind of shift a little bit more. So yeah, Whānau, if you have any questions, please don't be shy. Please don't hesitate to comment down below, because we really are here to help. Sources has been really encouraging me lately to share my experience, because there's a lot of I don't know, there's a lot of experience and knowledge that I have that I kind of just keep to myself a little bit more. So I would like to use this platform to share, and hope that it in turn helps others kind of like also avoid some of the mistakes that I made in the past. So also just wanted to let you all know that soon you won't be able to book readings through our Instagram. We're actually gonna link those services to our House of Afi website, so you can look out for that, but we'll update you when that's all done, when we can be bothered doing that on the website. So yeah, sending you all love. I hope that you'll have a really beautiful, restful and reflective new moon, and yeah, stay in your power. Peace.